In some absolutely breaking news, it has been announced that Cody Rhodes and Brandi Rhodes have left AEW. They are gone from the company. We knew that Cody Rhodes had been having discussions with AEW. His contract had expired. We knew all of this coming into this past few weeks, but now it's confirmed. Cody Rhodes is gone from AEW, and AEW has released a statement on the matter. Right here, it says Cody and Brandi Rhodes were both integral to the launch of All Elite Wrestling. Cody's ability combined with his boldness and passion for our industry and his love for the community outreach helped AEW deliver on our mission to give fans what they needed for far too long, something new, innovative, and lasting. Brandi helped us shape the AEW story, and I appreciate how she fought for us both in ring and out of the ring, competing in the women's division while advancing efforts at inclusion and civics causes, including great partnerships with the Culture City, with Culture City and the American Heart Association. Tony Khan, again, these are Tony Khan's words. It's an official AEW statement. Went on to say that I have immense respect for and appreciation for Cody and Brandi, and I wish them both the best as they move on from AEW. Thank you, Cody and Brandi, says CEO and president of All Elite Wrestling, Tony Khan. This marks the end of an era, the end of I don't even know what to say, honestly. It is earth-shattering news if this is true. And I say that with a pinch of salt, and I'll explain why later. But if this is true, it means that I know we call MJF, Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, and Darby Allin the four pillars of AEW. This literally is one of the main pillars that without him, AEW does not exist. Without Cody Rhodes making that bet with Dave Meltzer and Cody Rhodes and Young Bucks making that bet with Dave Meltzer and all that stuff that went on, there is no All Elite Wrestling. There is no alternative to WWE. So to have a situation where Cody has not only now not signed a contract, his contract expired, they went to the table to negotiate, and according to sources, it just wasn't enough. Cody is apparently after a big money deal, and more power to him. Get that bread, my G. Get that bread. He's after a big money deal. He wants all the monies. He wants some Danhausen stuff. But if this is true, and Cody Rhodes has left, it means that AEW as we know it, and I know it's already changed. It has changed a lot. You've had a lot of new additions, but this is cementing that early era of AEW is gone. Because one of the biggest things about the show, one of the biggest attractions, one of the biggest pillars of the show was Cody Rhodes and what he was doing. No matter what he was doing, it was always kind of like either semi-main event or main event. And now it looks like him as well as Brandi, who was just on TV a few weeks ago arguing with Dan Lambert, she's gone too. And she obviously had a lot to do with community outreach. She had a lot to do with early on building up that women's division. And you know, she brought in Awesome Kong. She brought in a lot of people. Now she's gone as well. This was family for AEW. That's the thing that I think is most difficult to wrap your heads around. This was like Cody Rhodes was the guy who started this in 2016 when he asked for his release, demanded his release, and said he wants to go out there and make a name for himself, and he did that. And now there's talks that Cody Rhodes is joining WWE. Now the reports say that he had, again, this is Fightful and PW Insider, multiple other sources say that Cody is currently in talks with WWE for a WWE return. And if he wants big money, it would make sense. It would make a lot of sense for him to go that way and go to WWE. They have all the monies in the world. They're going to give him a big money deal if he decides to return. You would think, right? He's an attraction. He's big time. He's got the Rhodes legacy. It's a lot. It's very enticing. We know how Vince McMahon feels about Dusty Rhodes. So, the other thing coming out of this was the fact that Dustin Rhodes tweeted out that he is AEW, and he says AEW is family. He's not leaving AEW, so he's staying there. But Brandi and Cody looks like aren't. I do want to say this again. The reason I said with a pinch of salt, if you read back the statement from Tony Khan, little too on the nose for me. I don't know. This is a skeptic in me. I do think that it's just as likely that he's leaving that it is that this is a work, that we are all getting worked big time. And I'm not just saying, us the fans. I'm not just saying the locker rooms. I'm saying Tony Khan is also probably getting worked here a little bit, because to me, it kind of reminds me of the Brian Pillman situation from a few years ago, or a few years ago. It was like 20, 30 years ago almost. But it kind of reminds me of that, where Brian Pillman, I respect you, Booker man, walked out, and Eric Bischoff and him had an agreement where he said that, he would go off, do some stuff on ECW. They play up the contract thing as a work shoot. And then Eric Bischoff worked himself into a shoot when Pillman signed with WWE. So if this is a work shoot, Tony, you got to be careful. Do not repeat the mistakes of Bischoff's past. But again, I think it's just as likely that this is part of a story that AEW is building. Because this statement, again, where he says, I have immense respect and I wish them both the best as they move on from AEW. I mean, again, I could be reading a lot into it, but I guess we'll see. Hey everyone, we hope you liked this video. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Until next time, keep it real.